And my next topic was about taking care of a weave.
Weaves. Okay.
How should you take care of it?
Okay. So, the first thing is choosing whether or not you are a good candidate for a weave.
Okay.
I like to look at a weave as a protective style. Also, for a lot of women, weaves are convenient because it allows them to not have to do as much to their natural hair. So if you're trying to keep your natural hair kind of out of the way, you have a lot to do, you don't have time to maintain your regular hair, a weave would be a good option for you. Um, so when it comes to weave, figuring out if you're a good candidate for it, one, if you have the right hair for it, if your scalp is in the right condition, and if you have the lifestyle to maintain a weave.
Okay.
So, so after that, you choose what type of weave you want. It could be, you can want a partial weave, which you'll leave out a large portion of the hair, and maybe they'll just be weave in the back. You could do a full weave, which means that all of your hair will be braided and sewn in, or anything in between there.
Okay.
It's really up to the person and whatever they plan to do with it. So then, when it comes to weave care, the most important thing for me is realizing that even though you have a weave, you still have real hair under that weave. And it's as much as important to take care of your normal hair as it is to take care of that weave.
Okay.
So something I like to tell people is to try to find a non-oil based, either a spray, like a spray lotion, or something that they can keep on the scalp while the weave is in.
Okay.
And also realizing if they do have hair left out, some people like to leave the edges of their hair out to make sure that that always stays oiled as well.
Okay.
It's also great to wash your weave and your scalp at least every 2 weeks, just like regular, because what that does is keep build up off of the scalp, and it allows the hair to grow. Because
Okay.
some people, they try not to wash their
Right, because they're afraid
yeah,
something will come out.
yeah, something they're afraid, but what they don't know is that when you have a dirty scalp, it actually stunts the growth of the hair. So if you have a lot of buildup on your scalp
Right,
because you
right.
haven't washed your weave in a month, you're actually going against your hair instead of being for it.
Right.
So keeping it clean is a very great practice when it comes to weave.
Okay.
Also, keeping the weave in no longer than about 6 weeks. I tell people about 6 to 8 weeks. You should not keep a weave in for 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, when you do that, that's another thing. It's working against the hair.
Okay.
I look at it as long as you take care of it and you put it in the right way, it can be a protective style.
Okay. And is there a certain type of weave should you avoid, or that you should be getting?
Again, it depends on on your lifestyle. It
Okay.
depends on what you plan on doing with it. What do you want to achieve with a weave?
Right.
Usually, the best I tell people is go with human hair, for one, because it can be curled, it can be blow dried, it can be flat ironed. Any synthetic hair, you can't do all of that with it, so I would tell the person to go with the human hair.
Okay.
The big trend now is the online hair, so you have like the Remy hair. That's basically what
Yes.
it's called. It's the natural European Remy hair. And what that means is that this is hair that has not been chemically treated or processed at all. So what happens is there's a place in India where people go, and it's a part of their custom to
Yes.
have their head shaved.
Yes.
So what they do is after their head is shaved, all of that hair is sent to another factory where it is then washed and it is put into different categories. And those categories are what you'll tend to see if anyone has ever heard of Peruvian, Brazilian,
Yes.
Cambodian. The hair is put into different categories. From there, then the hair is sold to different companies in bulk, and that's where the companies, they will actually sew the hair to tracks and then sell it to us, the consumers.
Okay.
So, yes.
And I know there are different types to put in a weave. What is the best type and the worst type to put it in?
You mean as far as the hair or the weave?
The weave. Like, I know I've heard of sew-ins. You can get it glued or
Okay,
using
yeah.
nets.
Understand. So sew-ins are the best for me. I prefer them. Not every stylist will say that. I just think that glue takes a lot of stress on the hair, especially if it is not put in and taken out the right way.
Right.
It can really stress and tear the hair. I've seen a lot of alopecia come out of glue-ins. So I am big on sew-ins. Now, with the sew-in, that can also be dangerous if you have someone who doesn't know what they're doing.
Right.
If you have someone who doesn't know how to actually take care of the hair, who doesn't know that you're not supposed to make the braids extra super tight, because then you're actually ripping the hair out, so you're basically doing the same thing as a glue-in.
Right.
And also knowing that you need to treat the hair and with proteins and emollients before you put the sewing in to protect the client's regular hair.
Okay. I've also heard of a net, like you put the hair in a net and then you do kind of a sewing into the net.
So, what a net does, and it's usually, I leave that up to the client preference. What a net does is it kind of protects the hair under there, because when you do a sew-in, what you're doing is you're braiding all of that client's hair, and then you're actually sewing the track onto the braid.
Right.
So what some people like to do, if the thread going into the braid sometimes causes too much stress on their hair, if it's a client that has a very fine or fragile hair, they'll want a net put on just so it takes less stress off of the hair. Yes.
Okay.
So that's really just up to client preference. Again, that's why it's so important to make sure that whenever you want any of those type of services done, please go to someone professional that knows how to take care of the hair.
Right.
I've seen a lot of horror stories of people who decided to go to a best friend or you know, somebody in their kitchen to get it done, and some horror stories come out of it. It's very important to make sure that whoever you go to knows about hair care, and ask them these questions. Never be afraid to ask your stylist questions. If they're certified and they know what they're doing, then they should readily be able to answer them for you.
Okay.